Imagine a world where Captain Picard is evil, where the Autobots are Cybertronian devastators destroying the planet, and a world where Grimlock is king. Well, imagine no longer, because in August, IDW Publishing will be bringing these type of stories and more. So in this episode of Delve Live, we're going to discuss these stories, plus, and now playing, this week we'll be now reading, and we'll be reading preview pages of crossovers you didn't know you needed until you read them. Delve Live starts now. Hello, and welcome to another live stream, another episode of Delve Live. I'm Tom Morris, and Delve, if you haven't seen it before, you're just joining us on our channels or our live stream, is a show where we celebrate everything that's awesome about pop culture. From video games to comic books to movies to toys to animation. If it's pop culture and it's fun and we enjoy it, we're definitely celebrating it. If you haven't subscribed yet and just your first time watching, make sure you hit that like button on our social media, whether you're watching from Facebook, YouTube, or even checking us out on Instagram. So with that, let's get into episode 46. More Than Meets the IDW Publishing. A little background on this episode. I was prepared to do something about Mario and maybe some Mario games this week because Mario Golf had an overview. Then in my email box, I got IDW Publishing sent me a press release about Transformers. I was, oh, this is cool. Some of these Transformer titles look pretty cool. It's coming up in August. Then the next day, it's like a 1-2 punch that they hit you with Transformers, and then you hit Star Trek: The Next Generation. And I was going, whoa, these stories look pretty cool. So I changed my whole format. And I want to thank the awesome people at IDW Publishing for just taking the time to first talk with me. And then they were able to send me assets and stuff that we're going to use during this show. But first, who and what is IDW Publishing? Well, if you're into comic books, you know that there's the big two. But like anything else, there's more than just the big two in comic books. And anything else in publishing and movies. There is a publisher called IDW. Now, who is IDW, you say? Well, let me give you some information about IDW. IDW Publishing is an award-winning publisher of comic books, graphic novels, art books, trade paperbacks, and tabletop games. They were founded in 1999. And is one of the big top 4 publishers of comic books and graphic novels in the U.S., with an award-winning library of world-renowned licensed content original series. IDW titles have appeared on the New York Times bestseller list, 80 of them, and have won 48 Eisner Awards. The Eisner Awards is the highest honor in comic book publishing. Here is where it gets really cool. IDW Publishing has published some of the most successful and popular brands that you probably have heard of. We're talking about Lucasfilm Star Wars, Hasbro with Transformers, G.I. Joe, and My Little Pony. Remember that for later. Viacom CBS Star Trek, Nickelodeon's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Sega with Sonic the Hedgehog, Disney classic characters, and they also publish from time to time Marvel Comics, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, and Avengers, plus many more. They also have original best-selling series that have been put into a few shows. You might have heard of them. Joe Hill's and Gabriel Rodriguez's Lock and Key, Jonathan Mayberry's V-Wars, Stan Sakai's I'm going to butcher this and I'm sorry, Yuzaki Yojimbo. I apologize. Walter Simonson's Ragnarok, Bio Smith's Winona Earp, and a bunch of others. So they also have various imprints such as Top Shelf and other things, Library of American Congress, the Library of American Comics. They also have a division called IDW Games, which does licensed tabletop games, such as Dragon Ball Z and Batman the Animated Series. And IDW Entertainment is where they kind of distribute the creative and products and diversified lineup. So all in all, IDW, you may have more than likely been into a comic book shop and seen some titles. And you probably have looked and said, okay, well, where do I find these comic books at? And we'll talk about that a little bit later in this episode. The first comic book that I want to talk about that caught my eye is Star Trek: The Mirror War. Anyone that is familiar with Star Trek has to be familiar with the Mirror Universe. And if not, let me give you a brief overview. There are dimensions and there are other multiverses, and a lot of comic books always do that. The Mirror Universe was way back in the original Star Trek, the original series. The Mirror Universe is literally a mirror reflection of the characters. If you recall, they had Spock with the goatee and they were evil. And instead of the Federation, it was the Terran Empire, I believe. Well, IDW in August is going to bring out a series called Star Trek Mirror War, and it's going to be a comic book event. And let me zoom in on this awesome, like I feel, this awesome cover. And here is some information for Star Trek The Mirror War. It's going to be a year-long event, comic book event. And the byline reads about Captain Picard's dark reflection, thirst for power in Scott and David Tipton's Mirror Universe magnum opus. For decades, Jean-Luc Picard of Star Trek The Next Generation has represented an ideal of greatness to science fiction fandom, a character of intelligence, authority, and empathy. Beginning on Star Trek Day, September 8th, comic book and graphic novel publisher IDW invites readers to witness what the galaxy could be like at the mercy of a Captain Picard whose greatness is measured in cunning and cruelty, courtesy of an all-new event, Star Trek: The Mirror War. Yeah, I don't think that's the Captain Picard that we all know and love. The Mirror War is definitely an evil reflection. So basically, it's going to start off in August with Star Trek: The Mirror War Zero. Comic book writers Scott and David Tipton will delve deep into the lore of the Mirror Universe. The Mirror War Zero, illustrated by Carlos Nieto, this Zero issue features a new story of Mirror Picard as he's summoned to Earth to face the wrath of his Emperor, deftly weaving threads from past Mirror Universe tales in a way entertaining to newcomers and the initiated alike. Following September Zero launch, the series will continue to build year-long tension with issues 1 through 8 and 4 interspersed tie-in specials, each highlighting a different member of the Next Generation cast. The first spin-off one-shot slated for December will focus on Data. Once complete, the 13-part saga will chart Mirror Picard's path of conquest across all of the Mirror Universe, stoking the wrath of the Klingon-Cardassian alliance along the way. Some quote from the writers and authors: in the Mirror War, we'll be seeing what happens when Picard gets hold of information that can change the fortunes of the debilitated Terran Empire, says David Tipton. The Enterprise crew will find themselves in positions of potential power and wealth like never before. Star Trek: The Mirror War number 0 will be available with multiple cover variants for retailers and fans to enjoy. As you can see, I'm showing you a couple of the covers. This is the cover A variant. And anytime, I guess the best way you could tell a Mirror Universe character, if they don't have a beard and they do have a beard, that's the Mirror Universe. We last really got into the Mirror Universe if you watch Star Trek Discovery, and I really like that show. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I love mirror story arcs. I love this, like, okay, what if your favorite characters are evil? So that's something I'm looking forward to. I think I would definitely pick up a graphic novel on that and read that. Now for the next thing. that came up in the press release, and I said, okay, I am a gigantic Transformers fan. Anyone that's watched this episode, Delve, has noticed that I grew up in the 80s. Transformers, He-Man, G.I. Joe, all these properties that really is still alive today. And what's cool, as children of the 80s and 90s, they're now content creators. They're writing stories. They're producing movies. They are celebrating this whole line, and they're bringing various tales for fans to read. And so what better way than talk about what's going on in August in Transformers? One of everyone's favorite Transformer. King Grimlock reigns supreme in August, heralding a huge month of IDW's Transformers comics. Information of it reads, a swords and sorcery Dinobot epic. And also, in a little bit, we're going to talk about the parallel universe of Shattered Glass from the Transformers series that fans await this summer. IDW holds the line for sensational line of Transformers comic books, and they're going to rule this summer, so proclaims King Grimlock. Debuting in August, 2 new miniseries, Transformers King Grimlock and Transformers Shattered Glass, will throw lifelong Transformers fans and newcomers to the franchise. Here's some information about Transformers King Grimlock. Written by Steve Orlando, who has done Wonder Woman Justice League of America, with art by August Padilla, Dungeons & Dragons Suicide Squad, and colors by Jeremy Colwell, King Grimlock is a 5-issue miniseries that casts one of the most iconic Transformers characters into a world of fantastical beasts and magical powers. In a savage world where the strong rule with sword and iron, the Dinobot Grimlock finds a new opportunity to prove he's the strongest there is. But as Grimlock and the human barbarian Arco will learn, sometimes brute strength isn't enough. King Grimlock is a sky-high dream come true to life, a story so big and wild, I wasn't sure if the Transformers universe could contain it, says Orlando. This is a first of its kind, science fantasy epic for fans new and old. Whether you follow the animation of the 80s, the modern shows of the 2000s, the big screen blockbusters, the decades of incredible comics, or if you've been intrigued by Grimlock action figures on the shelf, everyone's welcome. I know there's a few collectors out there that have Grimlock masterpiece figures. In Grimlock, one of the things he always says is, me, Grimlock, is king. So when you see Grimlock with his little Transformer crown, now in the comic, he is going to be the king. Let's see how, what is the old saying? You know, watch what you wish for. You just might get it. Also, another variant comic that cover that we have, this is a really cool one. By taking a beloved character like Grimlock and spotlighting him in an epic barbarian fantasy, Steve, Augustin, and Jeremy are crafting an iconic story that expands the understanding of who Grimlock is and what a Transformers story can be, says editor David Moretti. Plus, a 2-story tall robotic T-Rex battles dragons, magicians, and monsters, which is awesome. Let's take a look at some of this cover here, some of this cover art. This is a retailer incentive. Notice right here, I'm going to zoom in, King Grimlock. The king is written into the sword, which Grimlock always carries around. Definitely has a G1 feel. So Grimlock, King Grimlock coming out in August, and that will be a fun issue miniseries to read. Then we have another cover. This is the cover A variant for issue number 2. Some really cool artwork. Yes, it's definitely nice. And that's what's so cool about comic books is people are able to draw, what's in their minds and imagine. And also, you can imagine a different universe if you want. Transformers Shattered Glass. Everything you thought you knew about Cybertronian lore will be turned inside out with Transformers Shattered Glass, an all-new 5-issue miniseries written by Danny Lore, who has written James Bond, King in Black, Captain America, illustrated by fan-favorite Transformers artist Guido Guidi, and if I am butchering your names, I apologize, and Dan Kana, and colored by John Paul Bove. What is Shattered Glass? Well, Shattered Glass is a parallel universe where a war raged across the cosmos from Cybertron to Earth, a war between Decepticon laborers turned freedom fighters and the power-hungry autocrats. Many kilocycles after the blue planet was devastated and the Decepticons were brought to heel, the evil Autobot body scrapper named Blur hunts a new bounty, one who holds a piece of information that could reignite the war. And some of the quotes here in this article. To this day, I'm the nerd whose heart swells when they hear Optimus Prime in Starscream's voice, says Lore. As a writer, I love exploring characterization, what the core elements and what makes someone who and what they are. Creating these shattered glass versions of childhood favorites is like building the perfect combiner for me. What are the nuts and bolts that we can swap out while still making them recognizable? And I think that's pretty cool. Shattered Glass originally started, I think, as like a fan hobby exclusive. So, and then from there, it's just kind of picked up. Our wonderful partners at Hasbro made a huge splash with their recent announcement of new Megatron and Blur action figures packaged with our Shattered Glass comics. And we're proud to bring that story content, and specifically 3 cover variants exclusively available to the comics retail channel, to the wide audience of monthly comic readers, says Assistant Editor Riley Farmer. Whoa, that is some cool comic books that, to be honest with you, when we think of comic books, we kind of just start thinking, okay, there is some really cool characters through the years. There's some really great stories that we've had, Star Trek, Transformers, which brings us to our question, Dell's pop question of the day. Who is your favorite Star Trek character and moment? And that can be from the television show, movies, novels, whatever you've read is Star Trek, the original series, Next Generation, Discovery, Voyager, and some of the new relaunches. Who is your favorite Transformers character and moment? Now, that can be, like I said, anything. We've got over 30, 50, 60 years of some of this awesome iconicness. Whew. Just leave it in the comments below. If you're watching this on TV, check into our social media pages at Delve Into the Void on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and put your comments down. We'll get to them in another episode of the show. Now we're going to have some fun. Normally in Now Playing, we would be watching me play a video game. But in this episode of Now Playing, we'll be Now Reading, where I am going to read 3 titles, crossovers that IDW did with these properties. I'm going to have fun with this, so you're going to get to hear me do a playing of the characterization, kind of like if I had the toys in the 80s. So give me a moment to indulge myself as we start off with the first title. Transformers Back to the Future. Now, this was a crossover event, and I'm going to zoom in on the cover. As soon as I get, there we go. And here's the synopsis of this. Great Scott! Pop culture juggernauts collide in the ultimate 1980s and 1950s and 2010 showdown. Things are getting heavy, and nothing's as heavy as a Transformer. Marty McFly has just returned from the adventure of a lifetime to a new, better Hill Valley. Everything's looking up for him. That is, until Marty and his friend Doc Brown's time machine attracts the attention of the Decepticons. With one small mistake, Marty finds himself once again thrust into an adventure to stop the Decepticon plot in the past, present, and future. All with the help of a new time machine, the Autobot Gigawatt. A 96-page trade paperback. And I'm going to read a few of the pages. Thank you, IDW, for sending these along. And here we go. Transformers Back to the Future Part 1. Credits there. Okay, buckle in. I need to bring you up to speed. One of those previously in the space-time continuum things. You know the drill. The kid in the Flash motor? That's Marty McFly. He's about to travel in time. The guys shooting at him? They're none too happy because the time machine is powered by plutonium they stole to make a nuclear bomb. Keeping up? Good, because things are about to get crazy. You see, Marty's a good kid. But he has no idea what the future holds. Rumble report. Hey, Soundwave, you never guess what Ravage found. Humans trying to turn each other into scrap. It's quality entertainment, better than the gladiator pits back home. Fool, you're not supposed to be enjoying yourself. You're supposed to be finding ways to defeat Optimus Prime and his accursed Autobots. I hear you, Lord Megatron, but Hill Valley is a bust. There's nothing there that could stop Prime in his tracks. Rumble, what is it? Report, you pile-driving imbecile. The car, it vanished. What do you mean, vanished? What I said, Megatron, flash a light, gone. Could the humans have developed teleportation? Unknown. Ravage, commence scan. Well, transtemporal particles detected in vicinity of Twin Pines Mall. Time travel. Well, that explains how the kid showed up again. Kid? The human behind the wheel. 1 second he's gone. The next he's back. Large as life. Doc, you're alive. What about all that stuff about screwing up future events? Well, I figured, what the hell? This is it, Rumble, what we've been waiting for. The means to destroy the Autobots forever. Get me that time machine. You sure they went this way? Okay, keep it down, will ya? You found them. Good job. Always knew you could. Or would. So, how far are you going? About 30 years. It's a nice round number. We're too late. They're about to make a time jump. Megatron will have us for spare parts if we let them escape. What do you say, Ravage? Want to shake things up? How about I take you down instead, Decepticreep? Arg! Bumblebee! You better believe it. I've no idea what you two are up to, but I'll bet my capacitor it's no good. Surrender. I'll make this easy on you. Ha! You really think you can stop me, Yellow Belly? I'll crush you like a bug. And that is Transformers Back to the Future. Now, we have 2 more comics. Like I said, we didn't know we wanted them until we got them. Are you ready for this? My Little Pony Transformers Friendship in Disguise, Book 1. Collecting the comic book crossover event of the year. Where ponies, Autobots, and Decepticons mix it up together. When Queen Chrysalis casts a spell looking for more changelings, she accidentally interferes with the malfunctioning space bridge. What's this mean for our favorite fillies? There are suddenly a bunch of Autobots and Decepticons in Equestria. And as the dust settles, Rarity and RC find themselves teaming up against a hostile Decepticon force. Plus Spike and Grimlock, Pinkie Pie, Gage, and Shockwave. Fluttershy, Discord, and Soundwave, Rainbow Dash, and Windblader, and Optimus Prime and Twilight. Sparkle all team up for more adventures because, in the end, ponies and Autobots are both fighting for friendship. I gotta say, this is a pretty dang cool comic book cover. I really love the art. Hasbro, what I said earlier, they make Transformers, G.I. Joe, and My Little Pony. Way back in the 80s, we had Transformers the movie. Then, because of what happened in Transformers the movie, they had to change G.I. Joe to a 5-part miniseries, and they changed the ending. And unfortunately, My Little Pony was never released. Well, we're in 2021, and of course, we know about Transformers, but My Little Pony has quite a following as well through comic books, television shows, merchandise. And like I said, this was a crossover that we didn't know we needed until we got it. So let's start reading some pages from Transformers My Little Pony. Friendship in Disguise. Equestria. See, this is why these nonsense crossover stories shouldn't even happen. What continuity is this supposed to take place in? If Dr. Cabelaron still has his castle, then this should be before Daring Do has the Sapphire Skull. I think it's just supposed to be fun. Can I buy a second one? This is no longer mint. Cocoon! Yes, it's working! Keep spellcasting, my loyal changelings. Soon Equestria will pay, not just for my most recent imprisonment, but for failing to kneel before Queen Chrysalis. But hurry it up. I know we've never attempted this before, but I certainly wasn't expecting it to broadcast such obvious red flags. There, I feel it. The boundary between worlds is cracking. We may be outnumbered here, but our magic will bring forth fellow changelings from other worlds, beings who possess a nature and power outside anything this wretched pony-filled world has ever seen. Cybertron. Autobots. If the Decepticons want the faulty space bridge, it can't be for anything good. We'll stop them, Optimus. The only thing you'll be stopping, Autobum, is another Starscream ego trip? Good. Report, Shockwave. Is this truly worth burning Energon for? Yes, Lord Megatron. The data from the malfunctioning unit is unlike anything we've seen. This space bridge was not reaching out across the stars. It was cracking a breach to other dimensions. Don't activate it now, you fool. I merely require a coordinate data cycle in order to zip. Megatron, stop. I love making sound effects. Yeah, me Grimlock ready to... Oh, friends ditch Grimlock again? It's working. The gateway is changing. Into a door, I hope. One that you and your day-darkening friends might send that storm back through. Princess Twilight! I don't know how you broke out or what you're up to, Chrysalis, but after all the trouble you've caused, we won't wait to find out. Bew! Oh, but the wait is already over, Princess. I can show you right now. And that is My Little Pony Transformers, The Magic of My Little Pony Transformers Friendship in Disguise, Book 1, a trade paperback that is 96 pages. And to be honest with you, I think this is pretty cool. But what could be cooler than one Transformer My Little Pony crossover? How about two? Yes, that's right. There even is a second book called Transformers My Little Pony Transformers, The Magic of Cybertron, Book 2. More ponies, more bots, and more magical mayhem as two worlds collide in the return of this hit crossover event. While using a modified space bridge to bring magic to Cybertron, the Decepticons end up unleashing a more powerful evil from Equestria than they could have ever imagined. Looks like the only way out of this one is to team up. New partnerships will have to be created. The Seekers and the Wonderbolts, Applejack and Wild Wheel, Soundwave and Octavia, in order to capture the magic of their first meeting and save the day. All of this and more in the second My Little Pony Transformers crossover. I hope someone here listened to that, and when I said it at the end, they heard that voice who used to commentate the Transformers, like all of this in the next exciting episode of Transformers. So here we go. Transformers, the magic, My Little Pony Transformers, the magic of Cybertron. I just want that picture to sit in for a second. And that's pretty dang cool. That is fun to me. And isn't that what pop culture is about? We're all having fun. Transformers, the magic of Cybertron. And a real mother. Oh, golly. Please don't be mean to me, Mr. Goblin. You'll make me cry. I'm sorry, Sprinkle Flower Shine. You've changed my heart, and now we're friends forever. Frenzy, what the scrap are you reading? It's a funny book from that pony world. One of them gave him a bunch of, one of them gave us a bunch of presents in between fights. And you actually like it? What? Big Bad Breakdown's too cool to enjoy escapism, exploration, and magic? Yikes, okay. Primus forbid we ever take a break from endless war to appreciate a little beauty or just plain happiness, huh? Maybe I can borrow it when you're done. Silence, imbeciles! We are on the brink of obtaining power never before seen here on Cybertron. So prepare yourselves. One way or another, the results will be unusual. Lord Megatron, teams appear to be converging on their targets. Soon, magic will be ours. Equestria, the Everfree Forest. Mindwipe report. Closing in on the mystical energy coordinates now, Shockwave. And Skullcruncher may just bring you a belly compartment full of local wildlife as a bonus. The Crystal Mountains. Here, Shadow Striker, we're right on top of the signal. I'd say you're right, Arachnid. I don't even need Shockwave's locator to feel the power coming off, whatever it is. Lost Pegasus. Little ponies, if you surrender all magical items with no resistance, the show will return after these messages. Thundercracker, this was supposed to be a stealth mission. Oh dear. Hey, it's the alien Changeobot bad guys. Decepticons. And unless you're here to perform, you might want to remember the lessons we taught you last time about how you better mind your manners. Cloudsdale. Come on, Wonderbolts, keep the formation tight. We're not the best of the best if we get slow, sloppy, or surprised. Looks like some kind of magic gateway. Dare you to see what's on the other side? Last one in's a stinky Pegasus. Oops. Soon. Lord Megatron, our mission was a success. I will be the judge of that, Shadow Striker. Clear the way, fools, incoming! Oh, for Primus's sake. You didn't really think you could outfly us, did you? Don't be too harsh, Rainbow Dash. We do encourage every pony to try their best. And now let's show them ours. And that was the 3 crossovers you knew that you didn't know you needed until you heard them. Transformers Back to the Future, My Little Pony Transformers Book 1, and My Little Pony Transformers The Magic of Cybertron Book 2, and Friendship in Disguise Book 1. Let's delve into the chat and see what kind of comments we got this week. Let's see here. Going back. Hi, Jeremy Holder. How you doing? Uh-oh. John Luke has a beard. That's how you know it's evil. Yes, indeed. because a beard on any Star Trek character that does not have it is evil. Nice. Yeah, Shatterglass started out in the Transformers Collectors Club comics. Yeah, I do remember that. That was thank you for bringing that. It's cool to see IDW pick that up since I was afraid it would be the Collectors Club was dissolved. Yeah, that's true. There's through the history of the years that Club has really been through a lot, but I'm glad too that we can see new characters, different iterations of them, people getting to now Megatron is a good guy, Optimus Prime is evil. Who would have thought? Okay, Aunt Jean, Bumblebee is my favorite. Okay, Josh, I don't think I have a clear favorite Trek character, but I love the Next Generation crew the most. That's cool. Yeah, that's really what got me started into Star Trek. It would be cool to see the mirror universe versions of them since they didn't have a mirror episode in that series. Yeah, that's very true. Of all the episodes they had, I know there's been books and novels, and I think something in computer and games, but nothing in anything else. Bumblebee is my favorite. Hmm. Thank you, Josh, for a great sound wave. Oh, you never know. Um, yes, My Little Pony and Transformers. I'm definitely going to go out and get that. I'm going to go and read it. So I guess by that, if I'm on the up and up with the beard and mustache, if I shaved it, would that make me evil, Tom? Hmm. But let me answer my pop questions of the day. My favorite Star Trek moment, I think the Next Generation when they had the unification with Spock. I had watched Star Trek The Next Generation on and off, and I've watched Star Trek the original series when it come on repeats. But I think that was the first time I really got into it because we saw kind of like the past and the future Star Treks colliding. I thought that was really cool. My favorite Transformer character, I would say, would be G1 Galvatron. I really loved him as a toy, and I really enjoyed it before he went insane. I actually have an import version of the G1 Transformers Galvatron with animation colors. And if you haven't watched it on Netflix, they've got a great Transformers series that's the third part is coming up here pretty soon. But this brings us to a question here is I'm talking about comic books and you know we're talking where do you find comic books? Where do you go if you want to pick up some of these stories that we are talking about? Well, you can go to www.comicshoplocator.com and enter in your address, your zip code, and find where your local comic book shop is. Which brings me to something that if you're a comic book fan, new and old alike, there is an event usually called Free Comic Book Day. And this year, because of everything that has happened with COVID, and I did spell something wrong. That happens. Okay, so Free Comic Book Day 2021 is slated for August 14th celebration. I'll read you a little bit about that. Free Comic Book Day 2021 will feature up to 50 free titles available at participating local comic shops. The titles will be comprised of up to 12 gold and 35 silver sponsored titles. Titles are being announced in the public as early as in March and will appear in April 2021 edition of the previews catalog. Well, what is Free Comic Book Day, you ask? Well, celebrating its 20th anniversary, Free Comic Book Day is the comic book specialty market's annual event where participating comic book shops across North America and around the world give away comic book absolutely free to anyone who comes into their comic shops. The event is traditionally held the first Saturday in May and is the perfect opportunity to introduce friends and family to the many worlds of wonder available at local comic shops. From superheroes to slice of life to action, adventure, and beyond. Free Comic Book Day is a comic book for everyone. And also, it is one thing because We want to have fun. We want to celebrate our fun with comic books. We want to be able to be honest with you, just have a lot of fun with what we do. We want to be able to celebrate our love of pop culture for new and old fans alike, going to their local comic book store or trading a magazine with a friend, talking about what is a crossover, who would win, Evil Picard versus mighty Optimus Prime, Evil battling the heroic My Little Ponies and a heroic Autobot named Megatron. Hmm. That's the cool thing about comic books. You're only limited by what your imagination can bring and teaming up with fellow artists and fans alike, you can create just about anything. That is going to wrap it up for this episode of Delve Live. I want to thank everyone for watching this week. I want to thank IDW Publishing for getting me these assets to read about in this episode. I'm definitely going to check out these issues. So if you see me out in the street and I'm reading a My Little Pony Transformer comic book or Back to the Future, I'm having fun. I am enjoying pop culture. And that's what it's all about. Till next time, I'm Tom Morris. We'll see you next episode of Delve.